Today on Sagittarian Matters, we give advice on writing, people-pleasing, tattoo regrets, and more, in honor of the book Sluts, with very special friend to the show, Michelle T. Plus, a vegan food surprise in New York City with Katie Davidson. Stay tuned.
Sagittarian Matters, Sagittarian Matters, what's the matter with you? Sagittarian Matters.
1, 2, 3. Unsolicited vegan food reviews, completely and totally unsolicited reviews for you. What are they gonna say? We didn't ask for it, but we got 'em anyway.
Katie Davidson.
Yeah.
Where are we standing and where did we just eat?
We're in front of Dimes Cafe, Dimes Square, New York City, United States of America, and
I don't understand what Dimes is. It just,
it's a cafe.
but there's something about it that's cool.
I don't know. Just
Okay.
Google it.
Great. So, we just went to breakfast, and will you tell me what you were envisioning before you tell me what you ordered?
I was picturing like a nice bowl of granola with berries on top.
Did you almost wish it was warm? Like a porridge?
Warm or like room temp.
Great. Well, so then what did you order?
Well, I got confused between acai berries and goji berries, and I thought I was getting a bowl of granola with various berries on top, including goji berries, and then I didn't know that acai was like this like frozen dessert treat that was all like smashed up like pudding, and then I didn't get anything warm or room temp. I got something extremely cold on a very cold day in New York City.
So you got your bowl, and you were like, oh, cool, what is this, pudding? And I was like, no, that's the acai.
I thought it was like carob pudding, and that they like messed up my order.
You're like, but this is cool. But then
Yeah.
you were like, oh, it's okay. It's not warm. What was your strategy?
Well, I don't like swallowing cold things, so I just would like put the berries and like a small bite of acai pudding like in my mouth and just let it warm up before swallowing.
About how long did that take?
Like 20 to 30 seconds each bite.
I mean, acai is new, you know? It's the trend, the food trend.
It's a brand new trend. Have you guys heard of it? It's
I mean, I was surprised you got the acai, but I was like, that's bold.
Let me be fucking clear. I am 46 and I didn't understand what acai was.
That's cool. You knew how to say it. You know, that's cool.
I live in California. What do you expect?
It's like you were like in acai culture, but you didn't know.
I just fully conflated goji with acai. And I was picturing these like cute little goji berries sitting on top of my granola. But instead I got this freezing ass cold berry pudding.
Just to like cool your core down before you went into
like getting like shave ice or ice cream for breakfast.
All right. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
I mean, I like the toppings. I want to come back to Dimes and get a meal later in the day.
Yeah. Also, we saw a celebrity here, but I can't tell you who it was.
I can. Just message me offline.
Katie Davidson is the musician behind the bands Dear Nora and Key Losers. You can find Katie touring the Midwest this fall or get their new album, Human Futures, right now wherever you find music. But now, on to Michelle. Michelle T. is the author of over a dozen books, including Against Memoir, Black Wave, and Knocking Myself Up. She's also the co-creator of Sister Spit and Drag Queen Story Hour. Michelle joined us to give advice on the occasion of Sluts, the first book published by her new queer literary imprint, Dopamine Press. It's an anthology, and it is excellent. Go learn more about Sluts and all Michelle's upcoming books and events at dopaminepress.org. And if you like our talk, you can find more on Patreon. Patreon.com/Nicole J. Georges. Now, please enjoy my talk with a very special friend to the show, Michelle T. I want to know, do you have a slut icon? I know at some point you had aging icons.
Yeah, let me see a slut icon. Slut icon. I really love all of the weird women who were Aleister Crowley's Scarlet Women who did sex magic with him. They were wild women during this era when, you know, especially women weren't really allowed to be very sexual, you know, even within marriage. But they were just going crazy for this guy and doing all kinds of wild stuff. And he just like went through them. He was just like a fucking Libra. You know what I mean? Just going through and just, but they were so wild and interesting and like really wanting to get like sexually wild for mysticism, for like occult purposes, you know? So
Good for them.
Yeah. I think they're so cool. They should be the ones everyone knows about more than Aleister Crowley.
Yeah.
And they actually did a lot of the, you know, like some of the writing, like one of his whole books is actually something that was channeled through one of the Scarlet Women. So it's just sort of like, what did he even do?
He was like a curator.
He was a curator. Oh my God, that's funny.
Okay.
No shade to curators.
Dear Michelle T, do you have advice? Okay, I need advice. As a young person, I wrote prolifically. But now I'm in my late 30s and I can't seem to get started, finish anything, believe I will ever be capable of writing in the joyful way I did when I was younger. Even just journaling would be a start, but I'd like to get back to writing nonfiction essays eventually. How do I shift my mindset? From Stuck in Sacramento.
Hey sis, listen.
Hey.
Well, I think that you might be like setting yourself up for expecting anything in your 30s to feel like it feels like in your teens. You know, like you're not in your teens anymore. So writing isn't going to feel the same way. Like my writing, it doesn't feel the same to me to write as it did when I was in my 20s. What about you, Nicole? Does it feel the same?
If
you can say yes if it does, it's okay.
I mean, it does feel the same, except for I have a little bit of a consciousness and awareness now that I don't trust my future self to not publish everything that I write now for fun. You know what I mean? Like before, like maybe when I was writing as a teenager, which goes into my answer. When I was writing as a teenager, there was no expectation.
Yeah.
But then at a certain point when I was monetizing my artistic expression, then I'm like, can I really be honest here? Can I have any privacy or boundaries or be honest without future Nicole being like, I could put this right on Patreon.
Right. Oh, that's so interesting.
So my part of my advice is for this person to get rid of some of their expectations of everything they write turning into like something that's like supposed to be, because probably they got a lot of reward for writing prolifically as a teen. And they probably are not going to get that same reward writing as a 30-something. And so I think maybe you have to take reward or expectations off the table.
It's always good too with art and writing anyway, to take rewards and expectation off the table. You know, at least when you're actually producing and creating, like you don't think about any of that. And I know it's hard, especially because now it's like anyone can take their art, you know, we can take our writing and get it out there immediately. So, and it's like hard not to want to get that like immediate hit, but just like write, you know, just write for yourself. And there's no easy, like, you just have to make the time to do it. And then you have to keep doing it until you finish the thing. But I think things that make it a little bit easier are remembering that you probably do like to write. Like I always dread and procrastinate sitting down to write. And then I do. And I'm like, oh, this is fine. You know, like why, you know, why do I, you know, because you've made it something that you should do. And that automatically, I think, puts a weight on it. And part of you wants to avoid it. But just remember that you like doing it. Set aside the time to do it. Don't let anyone fucking bother you, and they will. Just don't let them bother you. Just be like, no, hold your boundaries. And don't edit while you're writing. You know, if you edit while you're writing, it's so much harder to finish anything. And it also makes the process less enjoyable. So you're more likely to, again, not do it, avoid it. Just like, remember that you like it. Make it as enjoyable as possible. If you're writing something and you're like, oh my God, I think this sucks. It's okay. It's fine. Just like let it suck. And later when you're done, you can go back and you can fix the sucky parts. You can take it out. You can tweak it. You can do whatever. but you just need to make the time to sit down and do it. There's nothing else. There's no other way. You know what I mean? Like there's one way, and it's just sitting down, doing it, protecting your time, and not editing while you're writing.
Yeah. Write with the door closed, edit with the door open. Just let yourself write with that. That's Stephen King's writing advice that I tell all my students because they want to edit. They're like, why don't I just do a little fact checking right now? I'm like, no.
Nope.
You don't know how to spell that? Who cares?
Yeah, who cares?
That's for a later date.
For. Yeah, that's what your toolbar is for on your Word, your Microsoft Word.
And I think delete Instagram for like a week and then make a little writing practice. You're like, I have to sit down every day from this time to this time. I don't care if you hate it. You just have to sit there. Something you and I both like, Michelle, is lists.
I love lists.
It's like start with a list.
Yeah, I just finished a workshop yesterday and I had them make lists. And you know what I do? I always have them make the Linda Berry Jerks I Have Known, from you telling me that story about when you went to one of Linda Berry's workshops.
Oh my God, I love that. I want to read those lists.
Yeah, they're great. Everyone comes up with really great stuff. So delete Instagram next week. Have a friend tell you if there's important news you need to know. Oh, that's cute.
Go off Instagram. None of this is ever going to come on and be on Instagram. You're just writing for yourself. And then you're going to sit down on Monday for 20 minutes from whatever time to whatever time, from 8 o'clock in the morning to 8:20 in the morning. And you're going to start with a list of 10 jerks you've known.
Yeah.
Over the course of your life. And then the next day, you're just going to pick something else random. Some other people's mothers or smells from my life.
I love that.
My top 10 mistakes.
Times I have cried.
Times I have open mouth cry.
Open mouth. Oh my God. What else is there? Break rooms. Good job.
Break room. And that break room smells for me is so distinct. So that's your assignment. Anybody who wants to do this can do it, and you can send it in to us via Michelle's Instagram page or My Sagittarian Matters. Great. All right, Michelle, we got to keep moving and grooving.
Okay, let's do it.
Make sure you're grooving too.
I'm definitely cruising.
I wanted you to know that before we did this podcast, I took a 10:30 in the morning nap and I woke myself up snoring.
Are you kidding me? You took a nap a half hour before you were going to record a podcast?
Yeah, I just wanted to be fresh.
That's like with fire. That's like nap edge play. Like, were you scared that you'd be like,
no, because I knew I was like, I'm going to take a tight 15. I'm going to wake up, have some green tea. I'm ready to go.
That's impressive. Well, you really have got napping down. Have you ever done those naps where like you chug a bunch of coffee and then you nap for 20 minutes and then your coffee kicks in and you wake up?
I have done that before. That to me, that's edge play because I'm afraid that like just the feeling of my body tasting coffee will psych out my body and make me be like, yeah, I'm so caffeinated.
I've never done it. It seems like but I've read about it and I'm like, interesting.
Okay, these are 4 rapid fire ones.
Ooh, okay.
Or 3 rapid fire ones. Number 1, what are the sluttiest cards in the tarot deck?
The sluttiest cards in the tarot deck. Okay, well, if you're reading with the Thoth deck, the Lust card, obviously, is quite slutty. And in the Rider-Waite as the Strength card, I think considerably less slutty, I think the Empress is really slutty. I love the Empress card. The Empress card comes up for me a lot, like when I'm just like have had moments of like polyamorous or non-monogamous total glory. I always get the Empress and I'm like, the Empress, what else is slutty? I think the Suit of Wands is probably the sluttiest suit, but the Pentacles can be kind of slutty too. I feel like the Queen of Pentacles is kind of slutty. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Do you have any tips for engagement? I want people to find my work.
Tips for engagement, like on social media?
Yeah. That's one of the rapid fire questions, not a question from me. Tips for engagement. It's like, unfortunately, I think that you should just block off time every day or every week where you do it, so you're not doing it all the time.
That makes sense to like not let it overrun your life.
Because it can eat your life. Because you will get, the more of yourself you put on there, the more you'll get back from people wanting to engage with that self. And that could just be your whole life.
So by engagement, you mean like followers, right?
I think so.
Okay.
Show nudes. Nudes.
I always get followers after I've been on a podcast or something. So I don't know if you get any friends who have podcasts or you feel like doing a podcast, but I feel like I always Yeah, like sometimes I'll just look at something, I have all these new followers and it's so mysterious. And then I'll realize that like a podcast I was on reran or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Just go on there a lot and be honest. But don't
remember-
just like, yeah.
No, I remember before James Franco got canceled and he was talking about his Instagram, where he was picking up 18-year-old girls. And he said that like he would do like a selfie and then like something interesting or something more for him, and then a selfie, and he would just like alternate.
Oh, cool. It's hard for me to put selfies on there.
Yeah, I don't really put selfies on there unless it's like kind of goofy or special. There's some, something
Yeah.
I don't know about
I'm-
it.
I mean, at some point I gave the tip to a fellow cartoonist where I was like, if you're a cartoonist, people are going to your Instagram page for comics. They don't want to see the picture of your food. They don't want to see like a kind of like badly set up photograph from your vacation of like a mountainside. That's not what they're going to your cartoonist Instagram for. They're going there for comics and to learn a little bit more about you. They really don't need to see your like photography skills. No offense to everybody. But like I take pictures all the time. I'm like, look at that owl in the tree. Look at the sunset. But I'm not putting that on Instagram usually, unless Ponyo is in there.
Mhm.
Because it's just like, no, send it to a friend. It's just like, is
I
this
would
a
love to
text?
see selfies of you though.
You would just,
Yeah, I would. I definitely would. I would. Yeah, it's because you're so cute, and whenever you do put a picture of yourself up, it's so cute.
I'm going to start putting thirst traps up.
Do it. I know what you mean. That's like I went to see Madonna in San Francisco, and I had an outfit on. I looked amazing. I took a picture of myself, and I looked so good in it. And there was this moment where I was like, the world should see this picture. And then I'm just like, but why? You know what I mean? It's just like literally why? And like, I just didn't do it.
I want to see it.
I'll send it to you.
Please do. Can we put it on the Sagittarius Matters Instagram stories or
Yes.
something? Okay.
Yeah, there's a part of my Leo rising that will now feel satisfied. Like, okay,
Yeah, it's
I
time.
found a home. I found
It's
a home.
time. Dear Sagittarius Matters, how do I stay focused on sowing for the future and shed the old era? Ooh. Signed, Shedding in Seattle.
Another sis.
I know.
Okay. Interesting. Very, very interesting. I mean, I think doing ritual is really great way to sort of like mark moments, past kind of crossroady moments where you do feel like you're leaving kind of one era, moving into another, can really mark that for you. Kind of like in your psyche, make it feel really real. So I don't know, burning things carefully, setting intentions, baths, doing things on the new and the full moon is really good. I feel like, the new moon is really good for like calling things in, and the full moon is good for letting things go. But also like, I just feel like just keep putting one foot in front of, keep moving towards your desire, right? Keep moving towards whatever it is you want. And that's how you sow those seeds, right? By like taking actions and like doing things. And then, shedding the past. I don't know, like integrating it, right? Like,
embrace it.
Embrace. Yeah, totally. Like, just like let that past person just be like, your younger sister that lives in your heart,
Yeah.
Yeah, your younger sister.
I really think like, I get mad all the time. Shocking, I know. And I have to like keep steering the car towards building what I do want instead of tearing down what I don't want.
Yeah.
And so I think that a way for you to stay focused on sowing for the future is to just keep building, keep like supporting things you do want to see more of, like putting energy into communities and organizations and causes that you do care about.
Yeah.
And actually like pumping that stuff up instead of tearing stuff down. And so that also might mean, like you were saying, like extending your good energy to your former self without living there. It's kind of like I heard someone say, like, it's okay to look at the past, but don't stare. Like you can integrate that. It can be part of yourself. And it's okay. You're not going to be like shopping at Hot Topic forever unless that's your goal.
Like you can graduate to shoplifting from Hot Topic. It's
like I have a giant Jack Skellington tattoo on my leg, as you know, Michelle. And I could get a cover up, but I didn't. You know what I did instead? I just got a banner underneath it that said 1998 because that's when I got it. So when people are clocking that Jack Skellington and they're like, did you just get that at Hot Topic now? I'm like, no, I didn't. here. I'm embracing the fact that I got it in 1998, letting you know it's not current, but it's here.
I love it so much. It's
Thank you
like
so much.
one of the best tattoos.
Thank
And I
you.
can tell you, I just saw some like really cute, like teenage boy skateboarder who was like so cool and cute. And he was wearing like a little Jack Skellington t-shirt.
You thought of me?
I did.
Thanks. And as listeners may or may not know, I got talked down from getting an entire Nightmare Before Christmas sleeve. Thank you. Thank you to the men at Grimm's Tattoo Parlor in Kansas City circa the 90s.
I got talked out of getting a tramp stamp of a piece of candy that said my ex's name pre-transition. So, you know, their dead name.
That started with a K.
Yeah. Apostrophe candy.
K's
Right.
candy.
Case candy. Big piece of candy.
Thank
Got
God
talked
you
out of
didn't
it.
get that. Talked out of it by who?
The tattoo artist.
And I'll just remind anyone who's new to this show that I got turned away from making an appointment to get freckles tattooed on my face at age 18 and a half. I came to put my money down for my deposit. Here's my $40. The guy was like, I'm not taking your money. I'm not making that appointment. And I was like, why? He said, because you're going to come back in here in a couple years and be like, you tattooed freckles on my face. And I was like, that's exactly what I want.
But wouldn't you love if you had freckles on your face right now?
No, because they would look like shit because I would have gotten them in the 90s. And then from sun exposure, I would be like,
Oh,
they would be like probably all blended together. And who knows what color they would even be. I just saw a young person at rock camp who was like, cool tattoos. My parents said next year I can get a tattoo if it's like thin line work. And I didn't say this, but I wanted to be like, don't. Just don't. You and I have talked about this. Like you could either have to get like a full body of tattoos or just no tattoos.
Just like, yeah, totally.
Don't do it.
Like I remember there was this one moment, I think I was like maybe like 40 or something, and I was at an event in San Francisco where I used to live, and the writer Ayelet Waldman was there, you know, and she was just like, she has kids. They're probably adults now. They're like older teenagers at the time. And she's like, Michelle T, my daughter wants to get tattoos. What do you think of your tattoo? Do you wish you didn't get any tattoos? And I was like, yeah, I wish I never got any of them. Tell her that I regret every single one.
I mean, it's kind of true.
Except for my hearts on my fingers, I regretted all of them. I just was like, oh, I'm so sick of looking at these. But you know, if I suddenly had no tattoos, I would be like, oh my God, amazing. I have so much space to get tattoos.
More tattoos, yeah.
Yeah. It's just like, how do you know you're an alcoholic? Because if I wasn't an alcoholic, I'd go get wasted right now. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, totally.
No, I'm just like, I can't, like, with some of my neighbors the other day, I was like trying to dress frumpy so I could go for a walk.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, aren't you hot wearing long pants? I was like, well, yeah, I don't want to wear short shorts on a walk. I don't want to get jumped by like a weird man. And they were like, but you have tattoos, so you look tough. I was like, do I?
Yeah.
It's hard to even imagine that I look tough to anyone because I
Yeah.
feel like a wimp in my heart.
Yes. Well, you might know what a wimp you truly are, as do I. But like I once had, I was once on this show. I mean, granted, this was a long time ago. I filmed a pilot for a god awful gay TV show that never aired. Thank
What?
God. Yeah. It was by the people it was by the producers of Queer Eye. And it was called Focus. So somewhere there's a picture of me. There's a reel of me, a film reel of me with my glasses, with like my cat eye glasses going, focus, 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 you know, just like saying the name of it all these different ways. So the premise of the show was so horrible was that they would take 4 queer people, LGBT, no Q, 4 LGBT people and put us together in like a talk show sort of situation. And in the middle of us was like 2 and 2. There's like a TV screen and a controversial word would flash on the screen. And we had to talk about it.
Like abortion or something?
Kind of, but like, I don't even think they would go there, you know, I think they're trying to keep it more queer specific. Not that queer people don't get abortions, but yeah. And so I remember one of them was like, you know, it said Butch. And now let me tell you what I was wearing on this. I was wearing my favorite dress at the time. It was like a vintage, like 70s vibe, kind of polyesterish leopard gown. It was like a sundress, but it was really long. It went down to my ankles with like little spaghetti straps, and like a ruffle, like over the tits. And I had my hair in like the 2 buns, you know, because it was probably like 2000 or something.
So cute.
And thank you. And so this lesbian comedian said I was butch, thought I was butch. And I was like, you think I'm butch? And she was like, I mean, yeah, look at all your tattoos. And I was like, wow. I mean, I think now people understand the varieties of queer genders much better than then. But
Are we butch?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. If I was butch, Nicole, you're definitely as butch as well. Yes. Yes.
This is so exciting.
I know. That show was so awful. It was like me, the lesbian comedian who thought I was butch, a gay Jewish Zionist right-wing gay man with a radio show, and then like an actor from like who played like the gay guy like on a sitcom that I never had seen. I did like him though. I liked him.
I mean, when I started getting tattoos, I did think they were a little masculine, and I was into them.
Yeah, I mean, I thought they were tough for sure. You know,
Yeah.
I thought they were tough, and like, I thought they definitely like, you know, like there was something like occult about it. You know, especially in the 80s, it's sort of like you're involved in some sort of scene that's like people are doing things that not everybody's doing. You know,
Just all to say, thank God I didn't get freckles tattooed on my damn face.
thank God I don't have who's candy on my tampon.
Because I don't think I would like pay a bunch of money and make a bunch of appointments to get a huge cover up. Or like get tattoos removed. Oh, forget it. Just forget it. Just like there's better things to do with your life than get your tattoos removed, you know? Get a turtleneck. Go buy a turtleneck.
Buy a dickie.
When I was a teenager, I was like, I'm gonna get tattoos on my fingers, and if I don't like it, that's my own punishment. I'm gonna be punk forever. I'm gonna be punk forever. And if I ever try to conform, my punishment is that I have to cover up my tattoos forever.
That's what I thought too. I was like, if I turn into some fucking square in the future, well, fucking serves you right now, stupid future you. Yeah. Yeah. And I almost got a tattoo. I had an idea and I didn't get it of a flaming tampon. I thought it would be super feminist. This would really help show my feminist identity.
I would love to get a flaming overnight pad to match your flaming tampon.
Too late for us.
Just a multi-bend, like a 3 or 4 fold, huge, thick,
An overnight winged pet.
on fire.
Oh my God. Now I want that like as a pokey, like a little pokey. And now I think it would actually be really cute. But
People
I
be like,
right here, like, yeah.
I also had a shaved head, and I was like, anybody whose hair is longer than like an inch is a traitor to feminism.
Yeah.
Don't inquire any further into my politics as a teenager, because if you were like, you're like, what is that femphobic? I'd be like, what's that?
Yeah. We didn't know. We were just working with the tiny bit of information that we had.
Yeah, and that was a world that was very femphobic. Today's episode is brought to you by Christy Herod and the honorary Sagittarians of Patreon. You can support the podcast and access early and bonus episodes by going to patreon.com/NicoleJGeorges and becoming an honorary Sagittarian today for only $6 a month. Can you even believe? And for just a little more, we'll say your name on the show. Details at patreon.com/NicoleJGeorges. Thank you for your support, and we look forward to saying your name on the podcast. Producer Ponyo looks forward to it too. Don't be scared. It's just Ponyo's speaking voice.
Hi, I am wondering if you two have any advice on how severe people pleasers should approach love, dating, and sex without losing themselves in the process. Queer query from Quebec. Thank you. Love you guys.
Oh, Q squared.
Q squared.
That sounds very hard. I can imagine, not that I'm not a people pleaser, but it's complicated.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, can be really confusing to figure out, I think, for anyone, like when it is that you're making a compromise, like for your relationship that's good and you can get behind, and when you're compromising yourself or making a compromise that cuts too deep, and sometimes you don't know until it's too late. Now, sometimes you don't know right away, right? Gosh, therapy.
Mm.
Definitely therapy. I love a
Let's-
12-step program. I
I'm gonna
love
say 12 step.
yeah, like Al-Anon, Codependence Anonymous, like those are super helpful. And they're free and they're like weekly and
You
get
could
to-
go every day if you
you
want.
could, you really could. And you meet community so you can like text people and be like, I'm about to do this thing. Am I doing a bad thing? And you can just get like, not like someone else is going to live your life for you, but you can get some insight, you can get grounded, you can get a reality check. So I think that would be helpful. Like you don't have to do it alone. Like you really don't though. Like you don't have to like figure all this out all by yourself. Like there's tools, there's other people who struggle with these things. It's not uncommon at all. So yeah.
I mean, a thing I have to remember is like keep the focus on yourself. Like if you're spinning out about what the other person wants or what the other person's big needs are, if you just take a step back and you're like, where am I in this? What do I want?
Yeah.
What do I need in this moment? I know this person's having a big something, but like, what do I need? And also for me, I have to sometimes limit my proximity. Like if I am like the most perfectly therapized person when I am like alone. And then as soon as you put another person in the mix, especially cohabitation, I'm just like, who's me? I'm you. We're upset or we're feeling good. And so sometimes it's like figuring out where your boundaries are around that, around proximity and making sure you make time for yourself. That's just for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be some of that time is with you, with friends who know you well, who can reflect back something. Or it also could be you like taking a walk or just for no reason at all, just like laying in your house.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
like,
yeah, that's really good. Yeah. Not forgetting to nurture the relationship you have with yourself, independent of anybody else. Yeah.
so then that's helpful for me to be like, who am I? What do I want? What's happening? I mean, this is kind of like, I don't want to take a weird twist, but people pleasing can be a form of manipulation to try and get people for you to feel safe or for people to think you're good or for people to think that for people to think you're good and that you're aligned with them. And so taking a little space is a nice way for you to be like, am I aligned with them? Like, what would I be doing if they weren't being pleased? And maybe it's okay for them to not be pleased because conflict is okay too.
Yeah. Conflict is okay. And and like peace should never be bought at the expense of like your own reality or your own truth or, like just knowing that like everybody is an adult and that can, trusting that people can handle their feelings, and it's like you have to say something that ruffles someone's feathers and that makes you feel panic. Just like take the time to deal with yourself and let them deal with themselves. Like you don't need to take care. There's that thing too where like you can't draw a boundary and then hold someone's hand through it.
I've never heard that before.
Read that somewhere. What?
I've never heard that before.
It was like when I heard that, I think I read it somewhere because I'm like, you really can't. And like, I think I'd been trying to do that and then was getting in so much pain and more conflict and more turmoil. And I'm like, oh yeah, you can't like draw a boundary and then, be the caretaker for the person who's hurt by your boundary. It just doesn't work. It literally does not work. Like you have to just draw your boundary. And if they need help with it, they have to figure that out. Like how to get that help, And it doesn't mean that you're mean or don't love them. It just means that it's almost just like a math equation that it won't happen. It just doesn't happen. It just doesn't work.
Yeah. That's huge.
It is huge. Yeah.
Good luck, people pleaser.
Yeah. Good luck, QQ.
And remember, sometimes when you stop people pleasing, people stop being pleased. And that's okay.
Yeah, it is.
Because you get to show up fully and honestly, and you get to still be loved anyway.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, our last advice question. Dear Michelle, how do you gracefully handle a Saturn return from returning in Reno?
How do you gracefully handle a Saturn return? I mean, where's Saturn right now? Hold on, let's see. Because, we all have different Saturn returns. So this person's clearly going through a Saturn return. Let me look at my little app.
Michelle's getting a telescope out, just consulting a sundial. We got this.
Okay. Okay, where is current chart? Planets. Saturn's in Pisces. Oh, interesting. So what would that maybe look like? I feel like Saturn in the deck, in the Thoth deck that I read tarot cards with, Saturn in Pisces is represented by, I think it's the 7 of Cups or the 8 of Cups, but the card, whatever the number is, the card is named Indolence. And it's basically the images of all these cups and flowers, and they're just gross and chipped and dirty and like haven't been cared for. The flowers are like half dead and the water is all scummy. And so the idea of Saturn in Pisces is that Pisces, there's this tendency to just be like, it's all going to be fine. It's going to work out. I'm just floating down the raft of life and I'm a little dreamy and I'm just, going to be creative and just like meditate. And that does work. Like that is Pisces. That's very real. But when Saturn comes in, like there's no one foolproof thing, right? Everything has its shadow side. So you're kind of dealing with the shadow side of Pisces when it's in, when Saturn's coming around to see it. So you're getting avoidance, passivity, lethargy, spiritual bypassing, just like I don't have to take a stand, I don't have to take action. And so Saturn comes along to be like, nope, wake up, you can't do that. Like your inaction is causing disrepair. Like animals aren't being fed. Like, like mold is forming in dirty dishes. It's like your house is filled with dust and people are getting, having allergic reactions. It's like you need to actually take action. So I would say for you to have an elegant, to have a graceful Saturn return with your Saturn in Pisces. First, make friends with Saturn. Saturn is not a big meanie that's like the schoolyard bully that just wants to take your lunch money. Like Saturn is like, like, I don't know, like just think about like martial arts, like people who like coach martial arts. Like it's all about like discipline for like a higher purpose for your well-being. Like like, I don't know, my kid goes to Muay Thai and sometimes the coaches are just like, no, drop and give me 10, and he gets that it's because they really believe in him and they want him to grow and be strong and figure out these forms and stuff. And like my niece and nephew do martial arts too. I feel like a martial artist is a really good like icon or metaphor for Saturn because it's not being strict for the sake of strictness just to like make you feel bad. It's just like there are aspects of life that require a little discipline and Saturn shows up to show you where you need to tighten up your discipline. So Pisces, like, are you super dreamy and super creative and super imaginative, but you don't really do anything with it? Maybe a graceful way to go through your Saturn return is to set some goals for yourself creatively, to finish things, to create something substantial that you've always wanted to do. Maybe it's to stand up for yourself. Do you feel like, is there a certain passivity? Is there a certain way of being in the world that's related to passivity and avoidance that's not working anymore? You can tell when things aren't working anymore. Like it's not giving you the relief or the way out that maybe it once did, or you hope that it would. And so you're going to have to learn maybe to advocate for yourself, to stand up for yourself, to stop people pleasing. Things like that, I feel like are ruled. So I think just like paying attention to the lessons and not feeling like you're being punished. And if you keep an altar, I would do like a big, like, welcome Saturn, just welcome Saturn, like embrace it, embrace the lessons that Saturn wants to teach you. Yeah. Saturn's like the dad that's like not a deadbeat dad.
Saturn's a nice dad.
A nice dad. He's not a deadbeat dad, but he's going to just be like, hey, notice you haven't gotten out of bed, in a few days. Like, why don't you get the fuck out of bed and take a shower and clean your room? It's like that kind of energy.
What happened during your Saturn return?
I am so mystified by my own Saturn return, honestly, because, I am an alcoholic, but I didn't get sober until I was like 32. So during my Saturn return, drinking was ostensibly still working for me, like I'm sure there were people around me that was like, well, it's not working for me. But I was like, I hadn't hit any bottoms yet or anything. So I was doing the Sister Spit tours. And my Saturn's in Taurus, and I know that, Saturn is kind of exalted in Taurus. It's a good placement. It's a harmonious placement. So I think that maybe I just had kind of an okay Saturn return. I don't know. It's so strange. I mean, Taurus is about home and work and the body. And, I was living in a fucking punk flop house, treating my body really badly. And, you know, what was I doing for work? I don't know. I mean, I started bringing Sister Spit on the road. So I definitely took the work I was doing to the next level, I guess. And maybe that might have been when I sort of got my first book deal,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So maybe in that sense that like having my Saturn and Taurus, I think meant that even though I was such a mess and so like fuck everything and an alcoholic, I did always like pay my rent, always had a job, like had these Taurus work ethics. And so I think that it made it easier because that might have been, if I had a different placement, that could have been a place where like I didn't have a job and I was like couch surfing or had a more material bottoming out. You know, I'm remembering there's also, there is like a Saturn return guide that you can get that was written by Lisa Stardust, who's an astrologer. So that's a resource that returning in Reno might be interested in. I think it's like a guide to your Saturn return. It has like a very practical title, but it's by Lisa Stardust.
Great.
Yeah.
Michelle, is there anything else we forgot to talk about?
Oh, I don't know.
Anything else you need to say about sledding?
I mean, Sluts is still on tour. Sluts is still in season. We're going to be in Marfa, Texas on July 12th. And then this summer in August, we're going to be in on August 9th, we're going to be in Providence, Rhode Island at a bookstore that I can't remember the name of. Whoops. And then on August 10th, we're going to be at Paper Cuts in Jamaica Plain, one of my favorite bookstores in Massachusetts. And then on the August 17th, we're going to be at the Provincetown Bookshop in Provincetown, Massachusetts, a bookstore I've always wanted to do an event at. So I'm very excited about it.
And you and I are going to be in Provincetown teaching at the Fine Arts Work Center. I'm sure that both of ours are sold out, but you could get on the wait list.
Yeah, get on the wait list. What are you teaching?
Graphic memoir.
Perfect.
What are you teaching?
I'm teaching writing for witches. So,
but people get on the wait list, and then you just come to Provincetown.
And we're gonna I'm gonna make everybody come with me to the beach and do a hot dog offering to the spirit of Cookie Mueller.
Great.
Yeah, we're gonna just do weird things together, and then just come and you can see us biking down Commercial Street like John Waters.
Oh my God. John Waters in P-Town to me is like when I wanted to see a sea turtle too bad and everyone else was seeing the sea turtles, but I couldn't. It's like that with John Waters where I'm like, where is he? Where is he? And everyone else like, did you just see him? He was just here. And I'm the only one who doesn't see him.
We're going to see him. Yes. God, in fact, I'm going to bring a little bag. I'm going to bring a goodie bag for him. I'm going to carry it with me everywhere I go until
Don't jinx yourself.
Oh, God, you're right. I'm not going to do anything.
Not going to do anything. I'm going to actually look my
buy
worst.
whatever he wants. It's so funny to give celebrities things. It's like, well, if they wanted that thing, they probably would have bought it already because they have more money than you. But
not from you. Michelle, thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me. I love this podcast so much.
We love having you here. Honorary Aquarius, Pisces, cusp.
Yes.
Person.
Yes. And so many things in Sagittarius.
That's why we love you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle.
Sagittarian Matters is hosted and produced by me, Nicole J. Georges, with help from Ponyo Georges. Our executive producer is Chris Sutton. Our editor is Shauna Polly, and our intern is Gigi Peloso. Carolyn Pennypacker Riggs composed and performed our theme music. Please leave your 5-star reviews for us on iTunes or wherever you get your podcast. Find us on Instagram at Sagittarian Matters and support us on Patreon at patreon.com/Nicole J. Georges. Thanks for listening. See you next time.
Sagittarius.